What if the perfect match wasn't found in a crowded room, but in lines of code? That's exactly the question Marcus Thorne asked himself one rainy evening, staring at the city skyline from his penthouse. Marcus had it all: immense wealth, luxury cars lining his driveway, a private jet that practically had its own passport. But something crucial was missing: love, real, messy, unpredictable love, and apparently, no amount of money, charm, or influence could buy it. Marcus was the kind of billionaire people write novels about. He ran a tech empire, owned properties in 5 countries, and had access to experiences most of us can only dream of. Yet, every romantic encounter felt shallow, scripted, and somehow hollow. Dinner parties, charity galas, high-profile introductions, all meticulously planned, all ending in disappointment. It wasn't that he didn't try. He just couldn't find someone who saw past the fortune, the image, the perfection that the world expected him to be. And so, in a moment of frustration, or maybe desperation, Marcus did something that shocked everyone in his inner circle. He called his chief of innovation into his office and said, quite seriously, "I want an AI to pick my wife." Cue the raised eyebrows and the stifled laughter. An AI? Pick his wife? Was Marcus serious? It wasn't just any AI. Enter Cupid AI, a sleek, sophisticated algorithm designed to analyze everything about a person: personality traits, behavioral patterns, subtle preferences that even the person themselves might not be aware of. Marcus had initially dismissed the idea as a tech gimmick, something the Silicon Valley crowd would laugh about at cocktail parties. But after months of failed dates, awkward introductions, and heartbreaks he couldn't explain, curiosity, coupled with a hint of hope, won out. The first meeting with Cupid AI was cinematic in itself. Marcus walked into a minimalist room bathed in soft LED lighting, the hum of servers in the background. On a large screen, a humanoid digital avatar smiled at him. "Good evening, Marcus," it said. "I have analyzed your life, your desires, and your compatibility factors. I have identified candidates who meet your most essential emotional needs." Marcus chuckled, half amused, half skeptical. "You really think a bunch of code can figure out what I need?" he asked. The AI's response was clinical, precise, yet oddly comforting. "Not think, Marcus, predict, and guide." The first shock came when Marcus learned how deeply the AI could analyze a person, not just superficial likes and dislikes. It examined text messages, social media habits, minute facial expressions captured in candid videos, even physiological responses during conversations. It was invasive, yes, but frighteningly accurate. And for the first time in years, Marcus felt a spark of hope that he might actually meet someone who understood him. Cupid AI's first suggested match came as a surprise, not a glamorous socialite, not someone from a powerful political family. No. The AI had picked someone completely unexpected, a young, independent woman named Leela, whose life couldn't have been more different from Marcus's. She worked as a cultural researcher, traveled on modest budgets, and had a laugh that apparently lit up Marcus's neural patterns, at least according to the AI's analysis. Their first meeting was awkward, quirky, and strangely cinematic. Marcus expected a calculated, perfect encounter: dinner at a Michelin-starred restaurant, orchestral music, champagne. But Cupid AI had something else in mind: a street-side book fair. Rain lightly drizzled, umbrellas bobbed across the pavement, and the smell of roasted coffee beans filled the air. Leela was chasing a runaway balloon when Marcus spotted her. She turned, smiled sheepishly, and in that moment, Marcus's world felt off script. It was messy, it was imperfect, and yet, somehow, it was exactly what Marcus hadn't realized he'd been looking for. The AI had orchestrated a meeting outside of any curated luxury bubble. And it worked. Marcus felt something stir in him that years of money, parties, and status symbols hadn't evoked. He realized that maybe, just maybe, a machine could open doors that human effort alone couldn't. But Marcus was conflicted. Could he really trust a machine to understand matters of the heart? Could algorithms truly predict the messy chaos of human connection? The sparks, the laughs, the arguments, The compromises? He found himself questioning everything he'd believed about love, fate, and control. And here's the question for you, sitting there watching this unfold. Would you trust a machine to choose your soulmate? Could lines of code understand the nuances of your laughter, the subtle flickers of your heart, the dreams you haven't even told yourself? As the night ended and Marcus returned to his penthouse, he couldn't stop replaying the day in his mind. Leela's laugh, her curious eyes, the way she didn't seem intimidated by his wealth. These were things that no spreadsheet could fully capture, and yet, Cupid AI had predicted that this imperfect encounter would matter more than any lavish dinner or perfect scripted introduction. Marcus sat by his window, city lights reflecting in his eyes, and thought, maybe love wasn't about controlling the outcome, after all. Maybe it was about creating the right conditions for chaos to bloom beautifully. And with that, his journey began, an unconventional, unpredictable adventure where technology met humanity, where code danced with the heart, and where every decision, glitch, and twist could change everything. So, what do you think happens next? Will Marcus's heart follow the AI's predictions, or will he find something even more unexpected? Hey there, my wonderful family and friends, welcome back. If you're ready to dive into today's story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments where you're tuning in from. I love seeing where everyone's watching. And guess what? There's another amazing story coming your way tomorrow, one you definitely don't want to miss. Alright then, let's get started. Marcus woke the next morning with the taste of coffee on his tongue and the lingering memory of Leela's laugh in his mind. He hadn't felt that way in years. Part of him wanted to dismiss it as a fluke. After all, the AI could have predicted random coincidences, right? But another part of him couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was happening. Cupid AI didn't waste time. By mid-morning, Marcus was sitting in his sleek office again, facing the digital avatar. Your initial encounter was successful. It announced, I have identified additional data points that refine potential matches. The next recommendation is ready. Marcus raised an eyebrow. More? He hadn't even processed the first meeting fully, but curiosity won. And so, Marcus dove in deeper than he had with any date in years. What fascinated him most was the way the AI analyzed human behavior. It wasn't just about shared interests or compatible zodiac signs. It went much deeper, subtle personality traits, stress reactions, humor preferences, empathy levels, even the likelihood of conflict resolution. All of it was mapped, weighed, and scored. Marcus found himself fascinated and a little unnerved. Could a machine really understand what made a person tick emotionally? Cupid AI's next suggestion was even more shocking. It didn't send him to another book fair, cafe, or quiet dinner. No, this one was orchestrated in a way Marcus would never have expected. A volunteer day at a local animal shelter. As Marcus arrived, he saw her immediately. Leela, crouched down, trying to coax a timid puppy out of its crate. She looked up, surprised, then laughed softly when she saw him. You're here, she said, half amused, half incredulous. I am, Marcus replied, unsure if he was impressed or mildly terrified by the AI's planning. The day unfolded like a carefully improvised scene from a movie. Marcus found himself washing cages, carrying dog food, even attempting to throw a frisbee for a particularly energetic golden retriever. And in all of this chaos, Leela's laughter rang out repeatedly. And Marcus realized something. The AI might have predicted compatibility, but it hadn't predicted the real connection that was growing between them. It wasn't perfect. At one point, Marcus accidentally tripped over a dog leash, sending both himself and a border collie sprawling into a mud puddle. Leela laughed so hard that tears formed in her eyes, and despite himself, Marcus laughed too. Genuine, unguarded laughter. Something about the messiness of the moment made the experience far more meaningful than any luxury date ever could. Here's the first twist. Marcus began to notice the AI's quirks in real time. While it excelled at predicting compatibility, its choices were sometimes peculiar. The shelter encounter, the runaway balloon, the coffee beans, small, subtle details that felt oddly human. yet came from cold calculations. Marcus started to wonder, was Cupid AI really just analyzing data, or was it learning to understand humanity in its own imperfect way? The AI also nudged Marcus in ways he didn't expect: text prompts, gentle suggestions, and even scheduling conflicts seemed random but were carefully calculated. A minor glitch, a misrouted notification, led Marcus to cross paths with Leela at a local jazz concert, a chance encounter the AI hadn't predicted, and yet, it felt serendipitous. Marcus realized that sometimes, the AI's errors weren't mistakes, they were opportunities. Another shocking revelation: Marcus began seeing patterns in his own behavior that he hadn't noticed before. He laughed more easily, noticed little gestures, and even started reflecting on what he wanted out of a relationship beyond the material. The AI was doing more than arranging dates. It was teaching him to read and respond to real human emotion. Marcus started to feel torn. On one hand, Cupid AI provided an almost unnerving precision, guiding him to scenarios where emotional connection was likely. On the other hand, he began to question whether genuine love could truly emerge from an algorithm. Could true intimacy grow if the circumstances were orchestrated by lines of code? Or was this simply the illusion of choice wrapped in high-tech convenience? And here's the second twist. During one carefully curated encounter, a hot air balloon ride over the city, Marcus overheard Leela talking about how strange it felt to be matched by someone else's design. She mentioned her own doubts about love, fate, and whether any relationship could survive if it felt manipulated. Marcus froze. Could the AI really account for uncertainty, spontaneity, and free will? The very person he was beginning to fall for was questioning the foundation of their connection, and it was entirely outside the AI's control. Yet, by the end of the day, something undeniable had happened. Marcus realized that amidst the data points, analysis, and careful orchestration, he was actually enjoying the unpredictability. He liked that he couldn't predict every moment with Leela. He liked that she laughed at him in ways he couldn't schedule. And more than anything, he liked that she challenged him emotionally, intellectually, and spiritually. The AI wasn't just a matchmaker, it was a mirror, reflecting his own emotional growth and choices. And yet, the question lingered: was he in love with Leela? Or was he in love with the narrative the AI had constructed for him? Before the act ends, let me ask you, if an AI orchestrated the perfect environment for love, would you trust your heart to follow it? Or would you rebel against the algorithm and risk chaos? Marcus didn't have the answer yet. But one thing was clear: Cupid AI had set the stage for something extraordinary. The lines between data and destiny, prediction and spontaneity, human choice and machine logic were blurring, and somewhere deep down, Marcus knew the journey was just beginning. Marcus had thought he understood the rhythm of Cupid AI's orchestration. Dates, encounters, little nudges, they all followed a pattern. However unpredictable it sometimes seemed, but by the third week, he realized something startling: the AI's perfect matches weren't always perfect at all. Take, for example, a dinner arranged in a pop-up art gallery. Marcus expected elegance, soft lighting, and intellectual conversation. What he got instead was a chaotic scene. A flash mob of performers emerged mid-meal, spilling confetti and turning a carefully curated evening into a carnival of noise. Leela, surprisingly, loved it. She laughed until her sides hurt, clapping her hands and spinning around with the performers. Marcus, initially embarrassed, felt himself laughing too. The AI's prediction might have been off, socially awkward for most, but it had inadvertently created a genuine human moment. It was moments like these that forced Marcus to confront the first real twist: perfection, according to Cupid AI, was not flawless, it was relatable. The AI had calculated scenarios where imperfections would spark emotional connection. The result? Unexpected laughter, shared vulnerability, and a bond that grew stronger with each failure. Marcus found himself thinking, I've been searching for the perfect person, but maybe I just need the perfect imperfection. Then came the second unexpected encounter, a literal glitch. The AI's recommendation system misfired, sending Marcus to the wrong location for a weekend retreat. Instead of the luxurious countryside villa he expected, he found himself at a modest, off-grid cabin. At first, frustration surged. Marcus had paid for precision, for control, for outcomes. But when Leela arrived at the same cabin, having also been rerouted by the glitch, something shifted. The retreat became intimate, cozy, and deeply personal. They cooked together over a tiny stove, shared stories by candlelight, and for the first time, Marcus felt love wasn't about grandeur, it was about presence. Leela surprised him again by opening up about her past. She spoke of heartbreaks, mistakes, and lessons learned the hard way. Marcus listened, genuinely, without the filters he usually wore around strangers. In this quiet cabin, he realized that no algorithm could fully capture the messiness, courage, or vulnerability that made humans beautiful. And yet, it was the AI that had orchestrated the conditions for this encounter. The third twist was the most shocking of all, and the one that would change everything. During a charity gala orchestrated as part of the AI's long-term compatibility plan, Marcus discovered that Leela had once been close friends with someone from his business world, a connection entirely unknown to the AI. A minor misunderstanding triggered a heated conversation, which spilled over into a tense hallway encounter. For a moment, Marcus feared the entire relationship might crumble. But instead of ending disastrously, this conflict became a turning point. They navigated the tension together, laughed at their missteps, and found a rhythm in their disagreements. Marcus realized that love wasn't about avoiding conflict, it was about facing it together. The AI hadn't predicted this challenge, but somehow, the unpredictability only deepened the connection. And here's where the human element truly started to take over. Marcus began making choices for himself, little deviations from the AI's plan. He suggested detours on dates, unplanned conversations, and spontaneous road trips. Leela, naturally, responded to these moments with genuine curiosity and warmth. The AI's orchestration had opened the door, but Marcus was walking through it on his own, yet the questions lingered, and the tension between machine logic and human intuition became impossible to ignore. Marcus often asked himself, am I in love with Leela? Or am I in love with the idea of what the AI has created for us? The answer wasn't simple, it was messy, unpredictable, and exhilarating, and it was human. By now, the audience watching Marcus's journey would have noticed something essential. Love doesn't follow algorithms. Even the most advanced AI could only guide, nudge, and predict. It couldn't replicate the small, unplanned moments that made human connection real. The accidental touch of a hand, the burst of laughter at an unexpected joke, the shared silence in a perfect sunset. Marcus and Leela's connection deepened through these small, unscripted moments, a walk in the rain where they got drenched, a late-night conversation about childhood dreams, even a minor cooking disaster that left the kitchen in chaos. All of it became part of the tapestry of their relationship. And with each shared experience, Marcus found himself falling, not for the AI's calculation, but for the woman in front of him. At the end of Act 3, Marcus paused, reflecting on the journey so far. The AI had given him structure, guidance, and introductions he never could have arranged on his own. But the glitches, the imperfections, and the spontaneous moments were what mattered most. Those were the moments that shaped the heart, tested courage, and built genuine intimacy. So, here's the question for you. If you had a machine trying to help you find love, would you trust it completely, or would you embrace the chaos that comes with human connection? Because Marcus had learned the answer the hard way. Love is unpredictable, messy, and often illogical, and sometimes, the best moments come from the mistakes, the glitches, and the imperfect choices we never see coming. By this point, Marcus's life had transformed. What had started as a curious experiment with Cupid AI had grown into a whirlwind of laughter, awkward moments, unexpected adventures, and a deepening connection with Leela. Yet, the closer he got to the truth of his own heart, the more complicated everything became. The AI had been flawless in data, precise in prediction, and meticulous in design, but love, Love wasn't something that could be fully calculated. Marcus felt that tension every day. Each time he glanced at Leela, saw her smile, or caught her off guard with a joke, he questioned, was this his choice, or the AI's? Then the world caught wind of his experiment. One headline in a major publication read, "Billionaire lets AI pick his wife. Is love now programmable?" The story went viral within hours. Social media exploded with debate. Some applauded Marcus's willingness to embrace technology in his love life. Others ridiculed the idea, claiming he was outsourcing his most human decisions to a machine. For Marcus, the public scrutiny was overwhelming. Every dinner, every outing, every shared laugh with Leela suddenly felt magnified through a global lens. Could their love survive if everyone thought it was engineered? Could they even tell what was real and what was influenced by the algorithm? Cupid AI sensed his internal conflict and offered predictions, probabilities, and psychological assessments. "Marcus," it said in its calm, neutral tone, "continuing with the current course maximizes emotional compatibility and long-term stability." But Marcus wasn't sure he wanted stability dictated by code. Stability felt sterile compared to the unpredictable excitement Leela brought into his life. The pivotal moment came one evening at a gala for one of Marcus's charitable foundations. Leela had spent the day quietly helping set up the event, staying in the background, while Marcus navigated interviews and media attention. At a critical point, the AI suggested he engage in a scripted interaction with a potential high society match. Following its advice could have maintained maximum social alignment and reputation control. Instead, Marcus ignored it. He walked straight to Leela, finding her in the quiet corner of the ballroom. Her hands clasped nervously. She looked up and smiled. "I wasn't sure if you'd follow the AI's plan tonight," she said softly. Marcus shook his head. "Tonight isn't about predictions or probabilities. It's about us." In that moment, he realized something fundamental. Love could not be reduced to code. Algorithms could guide, predict, and suggest, but they could never account for intuition, risk, or the small but significant choices that define a relationship. True connection required freedom. The freedom to make mistakes, to rebel against perfection, to follow your heart even when it might lead to embarrassment or failure. And here's the twist that shook him most. The AI had anticipated this rebellion in its own calculations but hadn't flagged the emotional consequences. In other words, Marcus's defiance wasn't just human. It was a scenario the AI hadn't fully prepared for. In trying to control outcomes, the AI had overlooked the one variable it couldn't predict: Marcus's choice. The emotional intensity reached its peak when the media began speculating about whether Marcus and Leela were really in love or simply fulfilling an algorithmic plan. Marcus could have retreated into wealth, privacy, and scripted perfection. But he didn't. He chose vulnerability, authenticity, and risk. He took Leela's hand in front of a crowd that was part admiration, part skepticism, and whispered, "I don't care what the world thinks. I choose you." Not because of a prediction, not because of an algorithm, but because I want to, because this is real. Leela's eyes glistened. "I was hoping you'd say that," she replied. And for the first time, both of them felt untethered from the AI, free to define their connection on their own terms. This act wasn't just about defiance, it was about choice. Marcus had learned that technology could illuminate possibilities, but it couldn't replace human emotion. Love wasn't something to engineer. It was something to experience, with all its unpredictability, chaos, and brilliance. And here's a question for you. If you had the option to follow a perfect algorithm for love, would you do it, or would you trust your own heart to make mistakes and find beauty in imperfection? Because Marcus realized that sometimes, the most profound moments in life happen when you step off the guided path, ignore the predictions, and embrace uncertainty. The act closes with Marcus and Leela walking through the city streets late at night. Hand in hand, neon lights reflected in petals. Music drifted from nearby cafes, and the world seemed impossibly alive. The AI had guided them here, yes, but the path they walked now was entirely their own. Every laugh, every conversation, every decision belonged to them, and in that Marcus found a freedom he hadn't known existed, the freedom to love without boundaries, scripts, or predictions. The weeks that followed Marcus's public declaration of choice felt like a new reality. The AI continued its background calculations, quietly monitoring patterns, sending suggestions. But Marcus barely noticed anymore. Leela and he were carving their own path, filled with spontaneity, laughter, and small surprises that no algorithm could have predicted. One morning, Marcus woke to find Leela standing by the balcony, sipping tea, sunlight catching the strands of her hair. She looked at him and smiled, eyes reflecting a curiosity and warmth he had never experienced with anyone before. It wasn't a perfect match in the traditional sense. It wasn't polished or rehearsed, but it was profoundly real. Marcus realized that all the AI predictions, the data points, and orchestrated encounters had led him here, to a love he didn't just feel, but chose every single day. Cupid AI had accomplished something unexpected. Its calculations hadn't produced a perfect, static love story. Instead, it nudged Marcus toward growth, toward vulnerability, authenticity, and trust, and in doing so, it forced him to confront a universal truth. Technology can illuminate possibilities, but only humans can live them. A particularly memorable day highlighted this perfectly. Leela invited Marcus on a spontaneous road trip to a small coastal village, far from city lights, media scrutiny, and the algorithm's influence. They drove with the windows down, the ocean breeze carrying laughter and stories, and Marcus noticed how deeply alive he felt. They stumbled across a tiny local market, tasted unfamiliar foods, and even danced under a string of lanterns outside a small cafe. None of it was planned, none of it was calculated, and yet every moment mattered more than any perfectly orchestrated scenario the AI could have designed. That night, sitting by the water, Marcus reflected on the journey. He thought about the glitches, the unexpected encounters, the imperfect dates, and the AI's peculiar sense of logic that sometimes led to pure serendipity. He realized that love wasn't a set of metrics. It wasn't an algorithm, and it certainly wasn't predictable. Love was messy, vibrant, unpredictable, and it was entirely human. Here's the final twist. Despite all the control, the predictions, and the guidance, Marcus and Leela's relationship ultimately became a testament to human choice. The AI could suggest, analyze, and guide, but it could never replace the laughter they shared when they made mistakes together, the vulnerability they showed in moments of conflict, or the quiet intimacy that grew over shared silences. In short, it couldn't manufacture love itself. The world, watching this billionaire AI love experiment, had mixed reactions. Some were astonished that a man of immense wealth and resources would willingly step away from the algorithm's control. Others were inspired, realizing that even in a world increasingly dominated by technology, human emotion remains supreme. Marcus became a quiet symbol of choice, imperfection, and the courage to embrace unpredictability. And in the center of it all, Marcus and Leela's relationship flourished. Not because an AI told them they were compatible, but because they had chosen each other. Moment by moment, mistake by mistake, adventure by adventure. Marcus often thought back to that first rainy night, staring at the skyline, wondering if love could ever find him amid his wealth and isolation. He never imagined it would come this way. Through algorithms, glitches, imperfections, and ultimately, a choice. But that choice made it all the more real. He looked at Leela now, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold. "I never thought I'd get here like this," he said softly. Leela leaned into him, her head resting on his shoulder. "Neither did I," she replied. "But I'm glad we did." Marcus smiled. For the first time in years, he felt complete, not because he had wealth, power, or influence, but because he had experienced the beauty of unpredictability, the thrill of genuine connection, and the depth of choosing love for himself. And here's a question for the audience. Can technology ever truly create happiness? Or does it simply guide us toward discovering our own choices? Marcus's journey suggested that technology could guide, provoke, and illuminate, but the real work, the real joy, came from embracing the unpredictability of life and love. It was messy, exhilarating, and utterly human, and that, perhaps, was the true meaning of true love. The months that followed felt like a gentle unfolding of something remarkable. Marcus and Leela had moved into a quieter rhythm, away from the spotlight, away from the algorithms and media scrutiny, living life in the small, meaningful moments. The AI still existed in the background, humming quietly on servers, analyzing data, suggesting ideas, but Marcus barely noticed. He didn't need it anymore. Love, he realized, wasn't about predictions or optimization. It was about presence, choice, and connection. They spent weekends exploring neighborhoods they had never visited, cooking meals together, and sharing books and stories over tea. Marcus loved seeing Leela's curiosity, her joy in small things, the way she noticed the subtle details of life that he had long overlooked in his pursuit of perfection. Leela loved how Marcus could now let go of control, laugh at mistakes, and embrace the unexpected. The relationship they had built was uniquely theirs, messy, beautiful, and real. The AI had played a role in guiding them, yes, but the real magic had happened when Marcus chose to step off the guided path. In hindsight, he realized the AI's greatest gift was not in matching him with someone. It was in helping him uncover himself. It had nudged him to take risks, to confront vulnerability, and to face unpredictability with courage, and in that, he had found love not because it was calculated, but because it was lived. There was one final cinematic moment that marked the true culmination of their journey. Marcus surprised Leela one evening with a small, intimate rooftop dinner. Candles flickered, city lights sparkled, and the air carried the faint hum of evening traffic below. Marcus took her hand, looking into her eyes with a sincerity that no algorithm could ever replicate. "I've learned a lot since we started this journey," he said. "I thought love could be calculated. I thought it could be optimized, but I was wrong. Love isn't something you engineer, it's something you live. And I choose to live it with you." Leela smiled, eyes glistening. "I was hoping you'd say that," she whispered, and in that moment, Marcus realized the ultimate lesson. AI could guide, suggest, and illuminate possibilities, but it could never replace human intuition, courage, and the raw, unpredictable beauty of choosing love. True happiness, he understood, came not from perfection, but from embracing imperfection together. The world outside continued to buzz with speculation. Social media debates raged on about AI's role in relationships, and experts wrote think pieces on the ethics and future of technology-guided romance. But Marcus and Leela no longer cared. They had found something more enduring than headlines or trends. They had found a life built together, one moment at a time. Marcus often reflected on the journey with a sense of gratitude. The AI had introduced him to possibilities he never would have explored. But the glitches, the surprises, and the moments of chaos were what had truly shaped his love story. Every mishap, every unplanned encounter, every spontaneous laugh with Leela became a thread in the tapestry of their life. A tapestry no machine could fully predict. And here's the final thought for the audience. Technology can guide us, inspire us, and open doors, but love, true love, comes from embracing unpredictability, choosing courage, and allowing ourselves to experience the messy, beautiful chaos of human connection. As the final scene draws to a close, Marcus and Leela sit on the rooftop. The city spread out before them like a sea of lights. They laugh at a shared joke, toast with glasses of wine, and simply exist in the moment. The AI remains in the background, silent, having done its job, its work complete. Marcus looks at Leela and smiles. "We did this together," he says. Leela squeezes his hand, not together with the AI, with each other, and with that, the camera pans out over the glowing city skyline. The rain has stopped, the chaos of life continues below, and above it all, two people have chosen each other. Imperfectly, unpredictably, and perfectly human. The journey of Marcus and Leela is a reminder for all of us. In a world increasingly influenced by technology, the heart still matters. Machines can guide us, but the choice, the risk, the laughter, and the love, that will always be ours.
Thank you for watching all the way through. If this story moved you, the next one will surprise you in ways you won't expect. Go ahead and click the video on your screen. Your next story awaits.